All right, everyone. Hello. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Yes. Hey, everyone. I'm Emma Borkoff, head of marketing here at 8Fig. Thanks for joining us today for our webinar, um, 6 Amazon Marketplace predictions for 2023 with 8Fig and Incrementum Digital. So before we jump in, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background about us. So 8Fig is a funding and planning platform that provides continuous capital to e-commerce sellers so you get the funds that you need when you need them according to your supply chain plan. And it's all optimized for an improved cash flow. You can even change your plan as you go. So if you sell more, you sell less. Our funds are flexible and align with what you need. We also have Incrementum Digital with us today. So they're a growth engine for your Amazon business. The team is comprised of experienced advertising strategists and tacticians trained to turn incremental improvements into exponential results. They offer their clients full advertising management, creative optimization, SEO, seller central operations management, and more. All right, moving on to our speakers. Hey guys.
Hello.
Beautiful.
Hey, Emma.
Hello.
Happy to have you guys. All right, so a little bit about everyone we have. So we have Avishai, who is the VP of Marketing and Growth here at 8Fig. He is the founder of Brainy, which has generated over 300 million in revenue. He's also the co-founder of Orbi, which was acquired by LinkedIn. And he's an avid angel investor and really likes tweeting about entrepreneurship. So follow his tweets. We'll send you his handle after. We also have Liron Hirschkorn, who has been marketing online for 12 plus years. Having sold an internet life insurance agency in 2014, Liron went into e-commerce and has since sold millions of dollars on Amazon. He is widely followed as a thought leader and speaker on marketing and selling on Amazon. I follow him on LinkedIn and just fantastic. Tons of really great nuggets. So definitely check him out if you haven't yet. And our final panelist is Mansoor Nourozi. After nearly a decade as a civil engineer, he turned his attention to Amazon to start his own storefront. Shortly thereafter, he partnered with Laurent as director of advertising at Incrementum Digital and has expertise on all things Amazon, e-commerce, and growth marketing. All right, so just some housekeeping items. If you have questions during our event, please feel free to send them in the general chat or in the Q&A box. At the end of our session, we'll have, about like 10, 15 minutes for you to ask our panelists questions as well. And we'll be sending a recording and share the slides. So don't worry about that. We'll definitely do that after. Fantastic. Let's get started. Let's start off with 2 poll questions. So fire away. You guys can just go ahead and select how many years have you been selling, and then what is your top 2023 priority? A minute to vote. We share the results. People voted. All right, so we're pretty across the board. We have some people who haven't started selling yet, and then some people who are a few years in, and plenty with 6+ years experience as well. It looks like most people are pretty focused on growth and profitability. So, all right, let's just jump right into the panel now. So starting us off, we've all heard about ChatGPT. We've all seen what AI can do. The first prediction is AI will drive more of the creative process in 2023. So to kick us off, I'll throw it over to Avishai.
Yeah, so I think the main thing that we kind of have to remember is that AI or automated intelligence has been in the MarTech, AdTech space for quite a while. And it was kind of all around kind of bid optimizations and getting the right traffic and really fraud mitigation and targeting when it comes to inventory selection. And really, we had this kind of I would call this phobia of having a computer generate for us the creative, the titles. And we're seeing research in the slide from 2018. The level of trust that was in creative selection and optimization was lower than any kind of level of trust in any other aspect when it comes to AI and generating basically marketing and advertising campaigns. And you can see it doesn't matter with a marketer or an agency, the level of trust on the creative side was low. There have been already tools that have been developed, a lot also on Meta, aka Facebook, to really create these image enhancers, automated video editors, so and kind of hybrid image combinations, so people can really generate more creative and have a creative that's really optimized for the audience. And I think that in 2023, that is coming to the Amazon space. There will be more use of copywriting using an AI. Either you're going to be taking your existing copy and trying to optimize it, or you're going to be launching new products with a copy that's been assisted by the AI. There is going to be more use around image generation. There are right now technologies that are helping people just kind of showcase their product on hand models or regular models. You can basically put your bag or your ring or your sunglasses on a model that is in an image that can basically, you can fit different types of products on them. So there's going to be a lot of disruption in that creative side, and there's going to be higher trust levels than there were 4 or 5 years ago.
I also just got a question from the audience. How have you seen sellers using AI, and is it expensive?
So, I'll jump in. There are already tools out there that help sellers with generating copy with AI. For example, I think it's Jarvis and Jarvis, which is now called Jasper. There's another tool I've seen recently called Percy. Obviously, there's ChatGPT. So there's already tools out there that are helping sellers write, their title, bullet points, etc., description for Amazon. And then we've started to see also tools popping up to help with images. One of them will be on the next slide, I think, from a company called Genius.ai. So, and the tools are not expensive, actually. So this will kind of democratize the opportunity for people to improve their copy and their images for Amazon. What it means for you as a seller is that it's possible that everybody's creative will kind of take a step up, and it'll be easier to have better creative. And so one, you'll want to use this to also step up your creative, but two, that it may not be, today you have an advantage in the marketplace if you have amazing creative. You might need to go a step beyond that with better video, maybe using photography plus AI, right? Just you'll need to go a step beyond just the AI in order to get better results, because everybody will have access to the AI. So you need to go beyond that and think about, your product packaging, the product itself, how you can read all your competitors' reviews and improve materials, etc., and go beyond just the creative that AI will create, because everybody will now have access to that. And it's less likely you'll be able to come into a market that just has kind of like bad listings and compete with the same product. Mansoor.
Right. Actually, one thing else that I wanted to mention, not necessarily related to creative when it comes to AI, is for forecasting the demand. Kind of, it could be forecasting the demand of the future. We have tools that can forecast based on the historical data of what the demand and revenue would be. But this is my personal hope that AI could help to do a better job of forecasting for the future based on the current behavior of the customers, the current economy situation, we will have tools that have a great job of forecasting how the demand will be in the future, what brands could do, and how they can increase or decrease their marketing resources to be aligned with that future demand.
Awesome. I think on the next slide, we have a few examples too.
Yeah, so this is already a tool that exists. I think I mentioned it's called Genius, GENUS.ai. And what this tool does is it allows you to take this like simple image of a ring, and then it creates like multiple versions of, you know, lifestyle images, including, you know, you see the one with the model and the ring on her hand. But what's coming further beyond just this, this tool also will predict, based on connecting with Meta, will predict which of these images will have the best CTR, for example, click-through rate, which will work best for a particular audience on Facebook, for example. And you know, so you're going to start to see, I think what will come to Amazon too is you're going to have tools like this one that will say, you know, here's an AI generated video, but out of these 4 videos, you know, you kind of uploaded and created, this is the one that's going to perform the best based on data that we already have and are pulling from Amazon, or this is the best custom creative for your DSP or sponsor brand headline ad that will be created specifically. Now, I think what it will allow you to do is even go deeper, because you'll be able to create images at scale like this. You might be able to go more granular in your creative matching to the keywords people are searching, right? So, you know, before, and do a lot more testing, right? A/B testing. But, you know, you'll be able to really match keywords to videos and have very specific direct correlation between the keywords people are searching to videos or the creative they see, because you'll be able to create these images at scale. So it's pretty exciting to see all the types of marketing that we know we should be doing, but today are just maybe too burdensome to kind of do at scale because of the amount of work and time and money it takes. And AI is going to improve that. And I think from the customer perspective, you hopefully will see here like also a better customer experience that will lead to better sales and conversion. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's incredible. That saves a ton of time. And I know, especially as a marketer, you're always wanting to test everything and run, you know, so many different versions and have it super personalized. So that's really fantastic that it really just expedites that for everyone. All right, let's move on to the next prediction, which is that ad cannibalization will actually become a thing of the past. So I will toss this one over to Mansoor.
Yes, so in 2023, we think that Amazon become more familiar with AMC, which is Amazon Marketing Cloud. Amazon Marketing Cloud is a cloud-based measurement and analytics tool that can help you visualize the customer journey. So what's going to happen on Amazon is that we are going to go from single attribution to multi-attribution. And what that means is that with Amazon Marketing Cloud, we can visualize that journey of when all the touch points that the customer had with our brand, with our products. For instance, we are running ads, display ads in different platforms, third-party platforms. And at the moment, what is happening is that when we are looking at our marketing and advertising, we can just see the last touch point. They click, they purchase, or they view, they purchase the product. That last touch point at the moment is the base of our decision. But with Amazon Marketing Cloud, what's going to happen is that we will see a customer sees our product in IMDb, for instance, or other third-party platforms. Then they go to the search result page, they search, our video ad is there. So the same customer saw our video. And finally, from there, it goes to product detail page and maybe purchases our product from the detail page of other product. So we can now visualize that journey and understand that what are those ads that had the influence and impact in customer to purchase our product. But unfortunately, at the moment, this is not possible. And what we do is that we don't know the first ad. Did it bring us incremental sales or not? Did it even had an influence in the customer purchasing the product or not? And this is going to help us optimize and refine our campaigns and understand that which ad types are making customers having impact for the purchase, and also that ad cannibalization and metric inflation will go away, because we are seeing the whole journey for customer and different touch points.
Great. Avishai or Liran, you want to?
I have something to just kind of add. I think that it's exciting to talk about that. Let's call it multi-channel attribution and ability to recognize assisted conversions. I think that a lot of times people look at what they have as a either or, and it's more of an and you can do discovery ads and do intent ads, and they can play into each other. And if you can kind of find what is the user journey that brings you the most optimal ROAS, return on advertising spend, you can actually start manufacturing that user journey intentionally. So you can put ad dollars in the place where you know that that's the best place to start that customer journey, and then you can refine all the next steps that usually lead to a conversion to really increase the likelihood of somebody going through those steps even more effectively than they did organically from that point where you found out what is that most effective user journey for your user.
Yes, 100%. Well, the things that actually we have had issue with is that when we are running DSP, specifically for the top of funnel, you can't necessarily measure. And our clients, sometimes they're looking for ROAS and seeing that return on investment, but with top of funnel, you can't do that. If you start using Marketing Cloud, that more and more brands start using that, now, even if the ROAS is low, we can show that, yes, this ad didn't bring any return on investment directly. But if you look at that customer saw that ad, and that ad caused the customer to purchase here 3 days ago, 7 days ago from your, by directly going to Amazon and searching for products. So it's going to be really interesting and exciting to show how these type of ads impacting, and hopefully are the brands, not hopefully, this is going to happen, brands will have a better understanding of how those low ROAS advertisement really giving them brand awareness, bringing them sales for long term.
Fantastic. Let's move on to our next prediction. So this is that Amazon will actually be sharing proprietary customer lifetime data. And this is one that Liran will start us off with.
Yeah, so what we've seen over the last, I would say 2 years, and I would kind of call this the post-Bezos era. We've seen that Amazon's been sharing more and more data. And I think part of that in speaking with people at Amazon is the general kind of difference in philosophy that some of the current leadership at Amazon has versus what's been in the past. And we've seen Amazon open up a lot more data that's available, search volume data, trends in terms of clicks, purchases, impression share, click share, like so much data that Amazon's been sharing with sellers that in the past we kind of thought would be a dream. That if you know, a few years ago, if Amazon shared search volume data, we thought that would be like unbelievable and amazing. We also didn't know why Amazon didn't, why they were so protective over this data. Generally, the feeling was because of, you know, competition. But one thing that Amazon still does not share today that I think is makes things challenging, or you have to use different tools, third-party tools, is Amazon does not share lifetime value. And particularly for brands that are, CPG, that have consumable type of products, this is the most important metric you really need to track to understand your business, so that you know that when you understand how much you should spend to acquire a customer. And brands that do understand this and are tracking this metric, because you can track it manually by downloading your Amazon orders, the encrypted email of that customer stays the same. And then there's tools that track this too. But again, Amazon does not share this data with you. And if you understand the lifetime value or a 12-month value of a customer that's buying your, vitamin C serum, then you know that you can go spend potentially more than you've been spending to acquire that customer in the first place. Or maybe you're overspending because you don't have such a great repeat purchase rate or lifetime value. Aside from that, you'll be able to use this metric as a measure of your, quality in your marketing, right? Your part of the Amazon Marketing Cloud that we spoke about was also the ability to understand the repeat purchase behavior, the past interaction of that customer. So Amazon sharing this data with you will be really critical. And based on Amazon, how much they've opened up data in the last couple of years, my prediction is that you'll start to see Amazon share this. And it makes a lot of sense for Amazon to share this data, because if they do, brands will be willing to spend more on advertising. And, Amazon has a big goal in growing their advertising revenue. So, I'm looking forward to Amazon opening up more data and including lifetime value, or at least 12-month value of customer purchases and revenue. In addition to today, we also don't have a full understanding, I would say, of those cross-sell opportunities, right? Not only, I think just like Amazon shows us today, some data on an ASIN level and a brand level. Again, we'd want to see Amazon show lifetime value at the brand level and lifetime value at the ASIN level. And I think it'll be very exciting when Amazon starts to do that.
I think that data is also going to impact greatly how people manage their supply chain, especially we were talking now about like lifetime value on ASIN level. I think one of the holy grails of an e-commerce seller is to know exactly how much to order of what, right? To be very precise and to be able to do that prediction. And if you start getting more data points that allow you to do that prediction, you will probably create a supply chain line that gives you two things. One, you'll less likely run out of stock because you'll have more confidence in ordering more of something that you know has more lifetime value with your users. And the second thing is you might actually reach the point where you have that data supporting making moves that will increase your amount of orders to the point where you can actually also decrease the cost of manufacturing and kind of use that confidence you have now increasing volumes for your benefit in that kind of negotiation stage in front of a manufacturer where you're like, oh, I see I have a lot of value in this ASIN level. How can I now not just increase production? How can I increase my margin and doing both in the same time? So I have a holy grail situation.
Mansoor, do you have anything to add? All right. Okay. Then
We're also agreeable with each other. Like, let's argue.
Great. Love it. On the same page here. The next one is that Buy with Prime will actually become its own holiday. So Liron, throw it to you.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about Buy with Prime. For those that don't know what Buy with Prime is, Amazon launched last year, and it's now just coming out of beta at the end of this month, something called Buy with Prime, which essentially lets D2C brands put a checkout on their website that says Buy with Prime. The customer gets 1 to 2 day shipping. The product ships from their FBA inventory, and essentially you're utilizing the Prime badge, Prime name, the Amazon trust to convert more sales on your D2C website. Amazon is putting a lot of attention on this. In my meetings with people at Amazon, this is one of the top priorities at the company level for Amazon this year. There's a huge opportunity in terms of Amazon now being part of a much greater sales online, not just sales on Amazon, but sales in the entire kind of D2C channel. And Amazon is doing a lot and investing a lot in creating awareness around this, and also incentivizing brands to kind of come on the platform and do this. So I think we already saw last year on Prime Day, Amazon promoting D2C stores that had Buy with Prime and deals that day, and they're going to do a lot this year to promote it. And prediction is they might even create, let's say a day before Prime Day could be Buy with Prime Day, and it's promoting all the D2C stores that are having deals during this Buy with Prime holiday. And this will create a lot of awareness for Buy with Prime, which creates trust with the consumers who are kind of will need to start learning what Buy with Prime is, and also with merchants to get them to add this checkout on their website. The future prediction beyond this is that Buy with Prime will not just be a button on a website. Buy with Prime will be a button on social media, on TikTok, on your blog, on instead of seeing top 10 top 10 Amazon products, when you're searching for barbecue glove, you'll see just a Buy with Prime button that people will just check out right there, and not even have to go to Amazon to check out. So I think this is going to be a major game changer, and I would encourage brands that are selling through their own website, or maybe haven't had success selling through their own website and have really kind of have 90-100% of their sales on Amazon, to consider a relook at your D2C channel, because you now have a source that will help you convert more. And there's also advertising solutions that are starting from Buy with Prime, using Amazon audiences and their DSP data to create display ads off Amazon, reaching Amazon consumers, but driving that traffic to your D2C store. So really exciting, and worth taking a look at Buy with Prime and becoming an early adopter. I would say that today the shopping cart has some potential improvements that Amazon needs to make to it, but I think that they will be done over time. It's in their roadmap. But as an example, if you're selling on your D2C site today, you can have somebody buy a product and then they get a pop-up for like an upsell, right? And you're increasing your average order value. Things like that you can't do yet, but all that is coming down the line. And again, Amazon's offering incentives to brands. So we're seeing Amazon offering $20,000 worth of free clicks and traffic to using Amazon display ads to your D2C store. That's obviously not going to last. It's basically Amazon kind of getting a certain amount of adoption, and then then it's not going to last forever. So there's some good opportunities.
I think that there's also something big that's going to happen in the agency space because of this. Buy with Prime is going to be an opportunity for a lot of design agencies to build for Amazon sellers their first website outside of Amazon. That, in a sense, magical button is going to create a whole industry. So we said here in the slide, it's going to be its own holiday. I think it's going to be a holiday that represents now a new industry that's being built. The ability to have all the powerful tools that you have in that logistics and the freight connections that Amazon kind of has in their back end, and the trust of the brand, but having it run in your domain, running all kinds of things that that were probably a really sweet dream that many sellers had, like, can I have my Amazon store next to my blog? Can I have an explainer video next to that button? Can I build an email list? So all these things are going to happen on yourstore.com, and you're still going to have all that power of Amazon behind you when it comes to the back end.
And also, I guess one thing that I guess Liran didn't mention is, when you have Buy with Prime in your website, you, in certain ad type with certain limitations, you could run ads on Amazon against your website and drive the traffic from Amazon to your store. that's really exciting. And one of my favorite things that Amazon is doing, this buy with Prime, is it's really smart. And what actually Amazon also doing is that they are increasing their pool of audience, not just by Amazon, by going to all these platforms that brand selling and getting their audience. So they are increasing their pool in DSP. It's going to be really helpful. And finally, for me, even as a customer, like when I go purchase from a store, I might have a second thought, but if I see that buy with Prime from Amazon, right away, I'm like, okay, that's I can trust that. I can purchase. If there's a return issue, I can trust that everything will be done correctly. So that increase in sales for the brands in their website is going to be really drastic, and I have a really good hopes for this.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many times I've found some random brands and definitely questioned if I should, if I should take the leap. But yeah, Amazon has some amazing brand credibility. So we actually got a great audience question. So is buy with Prime a better option than sending to Amazon with an attribution link and potentially getting the 10%?
It's a great question. I think, well, you want to think about a couple of things. In my opinion, yes, it's better, because when you're linking out from, well, if you're thinking of linking out from your website to Amazon, right? There's friction. Somebody has to get to your website, and then from your website, you have to link to Amazon to get that sale. And then when they get to Amazon, there's 50 other products around your product with ads and everything else that are there to to potentially entice that customer away. Now, if you have, let's say, a best-selling product with 10,000 reviews, you have the bestseller badge, maybe that's less likely to happen. Maybe you'll have better conversion on Amazon, but I think if you have that buy with Prime button on your website, you're creating that trust. Also, one thing that recently happened is Amazon is allowing you to kind of import your reviews. Not import, but basically your reviews will show up on your D2C buy with Prime pages. So as you get reviews on Amazon, those reviews will also be on your buy with Prime on your website, and all your existing reviews will also be there. So again, you have the the sort of Amazon reviews that are there and the trust. So I think buy with Prime would be, in my opinion, a better option. But obviously A/B test, and also you didn't exactly in your question say where the traffic is coming from in the first place. But if this link is on your site, then yeah, I would think that there's going to be less friction by just having the checkout on your on your website. If it's a link in a blog, they have to link out anyway. Then I think it's more dependent on the product and the reviews, but I would still send it to my website with buy with Prime. I also want to get that customer data and their email and everything that I get on my website versus sending that traffic to Amazon. And also, one thing to consider, buy with Prime will charge you a 3% fee for the referral fee, and Amazon charges you 15%. So you also potentially have better margin now sending that to your website versus to Amazon.
Oh, great points. Let's move on to our next prediction, which is that brands leveraging user-generated content will actually win the market. So over to you, Avishai.
So one thing we've seen happening over and over again in the past few months is that our e-commerce sellers, especially the larger ones, are moving to work with UGC agencies, and I think Liran is one of the one of the pioneers in the ad space, and I think that Incrementum also just this last year brought in UGC expertise. The 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 fact that people trust other people more than they trust like a branded ad is indisputable. We are seeing that the minute you put a micro influencer or even a nano influencer, somebody with less than 1,000 followers, using the product for real, doing the video in the worst lighting, the worst angles, but actually using it, there's actually higher conversions. There's something in the authenticity of the UGC creative that just hooks people. And when you kind of think about what usually brings the highest CTR, if you're in the ad space long enough, you sometimes see that the kind of rough around the edges creative and bring in high CTRs, and you don't even know exactly how or why, but it just does. And I guess that the human brain is conditioned to have a bit of, I wouldn't call it banner blindness, but maybe banner fatigue to things that are too shiny, too well put, and too scripted, right? Like there's something nice about somebody showcasing your product, doing like, maybe a live stream and showing, how they're using it. And then for a second you think the product falls apart, or it doesn't exactly, they don't think it fits their size, or they put it upside down or misuse it. But that kind of like, um, moment where you feel like you're with them trying it and getting it, and then like, oh, and everything turns out nice, and then they actually used it, and it was like it's an improved version of the shopping channel in a sense.
Laurent, do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We've seen this. What you see here on the left is Inspire, which is Amazon has now created a channel for influencers, for Amazon influencers, to be able to post TikTok style images and video promoting products. So we're seeing Amazon kind of probably its second or third attempt to create some kind of like social media presence. A few years ago, they tried something I believe called Spark that they shut down. That didn't work. Now they're bringing it, but I believe it was just images. Now they've brought this kind of thing, Inspire, that allows influencers to do video. So it'll be interesting to see if it takes off, and also. When they, part of the prediction here, I think, is that they open that up for brands and not just for influencers. I think for brands to kind of win utilizing this, one, you should try to partner with those Amazon influencers to create content for you. And two, as a brand, I think you have to focus on, not just like pushing product all the time, right? You have to focus on the entertainment, information type value that will draw people in to follow your brand. Because that's the reason why historically social kind of hasn't worked on Amazon. Everyone's just pushing product instead of what you see on Reels and TikTok and YouTube, which is like entertainment value. And so I think brands need to kind of come think of it from that angle. But if you have the Amazon app on the bottom, you'll see this light bulb. I think it's in beta, but I think a lot of people have it as a shopper. You'll see this light bulb, and you can click on it and kind of go through and see these images and TikTok style videos promoting products and influencers that you can follow. So good idea right now for brands to reach out to influencers. You can go find different hashtags on Instagram. You can and find those Amazon influencers, DM them, or go to Inspire, find their names, reach out to them on social, and try to partner with them to promote your brand and products.
Actually, I have an example for this from last year. I was talking with a client, and there was a product that saw 4x increase in 1 day in sales. And we were doing more research to understand what happened, and all of a sudden we are seeing this is not normal. We realized that the whole category, 80% of the category, the whole sales for all the product went up. Then after doing more research, going to TikTok, we realized there is this influencer posted about this product and another brand, not necessarily the brand that we were talking with. It was kind of an advertisement from an influencer about a brand. And after seeing that, I guess that influencer had maybe 1 million followers or something like that. After that TikTok, customers went searched on Amazon and purchased the product. They didn't necessarily purchase from the same brand. The same brand got around 8x increase in sales, but other brands also they kind of got advantage of the ad. So it brings us to the fact that how much the influence of influence marketing is. And the second is, if you are running these type of advertisement, or if you are using influencers, you have to be more thoughtful on how to drive the traffic toward your own product. Hopefully, if you have Buy with Prime, you can directly drive the traffic even to your own platform, so customers purchase from your website. Otherwise, to some extent, you could control that. To some extent, you can't. By default, if I see ad about a product, I might go search on Google, search on Amazon, and see what other options I have for the same type of product in terms of pricing, reviews, and other factors.
I think that it's a classic situation of, a rising tide makes all the boats float. And I think that the way to solve this is that when you run user-generated content, user-generated content ads, you can start really pushing to, like you said, that Buy with Prime DTC landing page type of structure. And you can also structure that the creator has to emphasize the brand, the specific product, in order for them to really enjoy the fruits and the benefits of the conversions, right? It's it's very easy to fall into the trap to hope that the creator understands what they need to talk about when they get the product, right? Like the brief is so important, the little details and specifics. I've actually seen a rough cut of a creator doing the whole script, everything perfectly, and for some reason at the end, blurbing the name of the competitor instead of the brand they were working with. Just it was interesting to see that some of the user-generated content industry is like, there are some people who do 10 of these a day, 12 of these a day, and you have to make sure that they're very on point so they don't mess it up. Um, that's my 2 cents from seeing some of these ads before they go live.
100%. There's definitely a whole other webinar we can do on best practices working with influencers. Also love the quote about the tide and the boats. Anyways, moving on to our last prediction, which is that supply chains will make or break brands. So Avishai, let's kick it off with you.
So this is a very interesting topic right now, specifically today, because supply chain is important, but now it's becoming important and even a bit sophisticated beyond what maybe Amazon sellers were accustomed to. And Liran will either support me on this or argue with me. But now the option to bid for capacity limits is putting Amazon sellers in a situation where they have to be smarter than they were yesterday about the whole supply chain. And what is basically happening is that Amazon is monetizing the the space they have beyond the minimum kind of space they're giving sellers. They have a score system. They increase limits for some sellers, but when the holiday season kind of comes around, or there's a special day, that's where Amazon cannot afford to have sellers out of the game and then other sellers hogging a lot of space that they might be hogging unnecessarily. So they're monetizing and they're kind of optimizing the way their warehouse framework is built. And on the flip side, you have these e-commerce sellers that now, if they're really confident about selling, they're going to have to put their money where their mouth is by bidding for more extra capacity, paying for it up front, knowing that if they don't sell, if they don't perform, they're paying extra beyond what you would pay the regular fee of what you have in your inventory limit. So it's going to be very interesting to see who is already planning on bidding very high for that space because they think it can give them some advantage. I'm also wondering if there is going to be, in very unique cases, um, situations where there's going to be a price surge on this, right? There's like a fixed price now. There's, I think, even a good entry level price to start bidding above capacity limits. I'm wondering if there's going to be basically auctions that really run rampant, and it's going to be really interesting also to see how the sellers are going to look at their whole strategy of um, managing not just the supply chain, but managing their marketing and managing the amount of product R&D they're doing. Like all these things might be affected. Like if you knew that you have high limits, so you probably do product R&D, ship a lot of products in, try it out. Now, if you're at full capacity and you want to do a new SKU, you're not, or a new ASIN, you're not getting um, room to run that test without first buying more room.
Yeah, I think also, for those that may not know exactly what Avishai had just mentioned, Amazon yesterday came out with something called capacity manager, giving brands the ability to increase or request increases for their storage limits. Essentially, Amazon has gone to Uber surge pricing. Okay, so they're now allowing brands to bid for more space. And then if you win that bid and pay for it, when you sell that inventory, I think within 30 days of the inventory you bid for, you get credits back. So you, like Avishai said, you have to put your money where your mouth is, because if you are confident that you will sell the inventory, you can bid for it and get credits back towards the additional fees that you paid for that storage. But this will make supply chain more complex for sellers, and these types of calculations, that you'll need to make. Hey, I'm launching a new product. Should I do it and pay for the more storage? Should I sell another product down in order to get the space? All these calculations that you'll need to make, and to some extent, the smaller, scrappier sellers will need to be really smart about it, because you might be in a category with some big brands that they'll just pay, right, for the storage, because they want to hit top line revenue numbers, and maybe their bottom line is not as important to you, small scrappy seller bottom line. And there will be some of this, big brands versus small. However, I think, like we've seen in the past, sometimes the big brands are not watching things as much as Amazon sellers that really kind of know their stuff. So again, this will be interesting to see how the scrappy entrepreneurs take advantage of being able to get more capacity, and then how you really need to kind of push the sales in order to get those credits back. So supply chain seems to be like it's getting even more complex as a result of this announcement just yesterday. And I think this shows also, I'll just add the benefit of you here listening to these types of webinars and being plugged into what's happening in the space, because things are changing on Amazon on a weekly basis. And if you don't stay plugged in, then you are kind of left behind in terms of what's happening. So, it's good that you're following us, that you're following 8Fig, following all of us here, Mansoor, Avishai, myself, 8Fig, and Incrementum on social channels. Helps you stay plugged in, because this was not part of the prepared webinar, but this happened yesterday, and it's really important. There's a great article on Marketplace Pulse that was put out, you see here, that was put out yesterday, that you can read more about this, or you can also find it on my social channels with some of the screenshots around this update.
I just want wanted to add to this because I'm a seller and I always had issue when I'm launching that inventory limit always has been issue for me. When I saw Liron showing me this new change from Amazon, I was really happy because now I can plan. And if I know I'm choosing a product, I want to launch a product that it has a potential and I'm going to sell after all the investigation I have done, research I have done, I could bid and get more inventory because the other way I was doing was sending more inventory. But for instance, let's say I have 1,000 limit from Amazon, 1,000 was going to Amazon warehouse. The rest was in 3PL because I knew I'm going to sell. But in 3PL, we all know we are paying much more than Amazon warehouse. There has been no math that I say, oh, 3PL is actually for more benefit. I always love to have my inventory on Amazon. So this bidding option for me personally, I'm happy about that. I know that this is a product I'm going to sell. I'm going to buy, bid, get more inventory. So I'll send all of my inventory right in Amazon. At the end of the day, for me, it would be more saving compared to 3PL.
Yeah, but that saving only happens really if you are not in a situation where everybody's trying to save, right? If we're going to be in a situation where everybody's going to bid because they want to like have the reservation ready just in case they need, then those reservations are going to become higher in price. If all of us are going to try to be just overly planned, like go well beyond what we need just in case, then we're all going to find ourselves in a bad unit economic situation. So you have to be very precise, and sometimes being precise means that you're doing a combination of sending what you need and a bit more, and not just double what you need. And there's this tendency of sellers to try to sometimes fill up a container, right? And just have things wait until they fill up a container and send one big container. And there's the tendency of sometimes having a lot of inventory just in case a spike might come. And then that comes with kind of reluctancies to do air freight. It comes with reluctancies to use, to extend certain 3PL solutions, which I think that are still going to be very important because in the end, Amazon is all about the real estate, right? You might be making a move that in the short term looks like you're saving money, but in the long term, if you hurt the valuation of your store by hurting the real estate, then you're probably losing more in dollar amount values, even if it's less tangible.
Awesome. I know we just have a few minutes left. I think we have this last slide. If you had another point about this, Avishai, we go back.
Yeah, I think that it touches on what I was just talking about. Stockouts for a seller is equivalent of, kind of a death sentence when it comes to Amazon. You are working from the day you start your store, from the day you launch an ASIN, to build rapport on the platform, right? To have that rating, to have that ranking, to move to that point where your PPC and organic are already getting a blended result, to start seeing your unit economics improve after a year or 2 or 3 years that you're trying to kind of build your ASIN up, and then you hit a stock out and it just is like punch to the stomach. So it is a challenge when you're trying to manage this thing, and look how many moving parts you have. You have China lockdowns. Will they, won't they open up China? When they do open up China, how do they open it up? How many people have been waiting for it to open up? What's going to happen now with the freight? Um, is there going to be on on your shipment the lucky strike on your port wherever you're supposed to get your shipment? There is so there is so much that can go wrong, right? And because there is so much that can go wrong, you have to be sophisticated about your supply chain. Don't put 100% of your stock in one container. Spread it out, maybe do a bit of air freight, maybe um, create a situation where you are smarter about what you are, doing now discounts and trying to, sell out of stock just so you can do another container. Maybe stay the course, stick the price, don't necessarily push, to sales if you don't know what is going to be your chain situation, right? Like if you don't know if you're going to get inventory on time, don't try to run out of inventory, in other words. So it's a concern that, sadly is you can be very concerned about. It can be top of mind. You won't ever be able to solve it by wishful thinking. You have to work on it, and you have to be very savvy on how you're ordering.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. Let's jump into the Q&A right now. I actually did get a question just related to Avishai, what you're talking about, or also later on, I think, about the Amazon limits. But the question was, how does Amazon upstream storage fit into this?
As far as I understand, upstream is a separate separate warehouse where you store inventory, and Amazon ships inventory to Amazon warehouses. So I think that's a separate service. I think it's called Amazon, like Amazon warehousing, basically as a service where it's kind of acting as a 3PL that would store inventory for you, but they don't. AWD, thank you. And they basically will replenish inventory to FBA for you. So it's not really related because it's kind of like a separate service.
Awesome. And everyone, please put any questions you have in the chat or the Q&A, well, either or, and we will get to them. I have another one queued up. What advice do you have for a seller to prepare for the continuous swings in the market? It's a little broad, but anything you guys got?
The question. Maybe Mansoor wants to take this. If not, I'll take it. Take it. Yeah. So as far as advice for preparing for continuous swings in the market, it's a good question because you need to. It's interesting actually. I'll share a little bit of a different type of answer here. We're actually, the reason why we're together here, we don't usually sit in the same office or place, but we're actually doing our annual planning for 2023 here actually in Canada this week. And we're using a system called EOS, which stands for the Entrepreneur Operating System, which is kind of a playbook for how to run any business. And one of the elements of running a company that EOS talks about is the ability to predict, right? Any CEO, entrepreneur that's kind of in your company, in your business, needs to think about what's going to happen, what's coming, and the ability to predict. Now, we don't have a crystal ball, but what we do have is trends that you can look at in the past. And today, Amazon is sharing a lot of data with you in terms of search volume, how many new competitors are in a particular market, is conversion share, search volume going up, down, what's happening in the market. So one, you want to use that past, you want to use your past sales history, and you want to really sit and think about, what are some of the different scenarios that could happen, and are you prepared for those scenarios, and try as much as possible to hedge your bet maybe in kind of two ways, right? What if my product sells amazingly well? How much inventory will I need? What if it's really slow, especially if you're launching a new product? And if you're launching a new product, you need to kind of balance between amazing success and also failure in terms of how much inventory you're gonna bring in, and also the negative consequences of going out of stock. So I think the best is to answer the question, I think the best is to look at multiple factors. For example, data that Amazon has, what you know about the particular market, and your ability to really sit and think about different scenarios. And the more you do this, and the more you kind of think about your business, and the more experience you get, the better I think you'll become at being able to predict, which I think is an important part of anybody running any business. You need to to think about that. So it's probably the best answer I can give. But we try to do this in our agency business. Trying to predict what's going to happen the year ahead, and how do you plan for it, from marketing budgets to to services you're going to offer or products you're going to sell.
That's awesome. I love the entrepreneur operating system. And yeah, 100% about planning. Like, even if your predictions off, like, you learn kind of what the difference was between where you thought you'd be and where it landed. And even from that, you're gaining insight. All right. I know we are a few minutes over, so I have one last question for everyone. So what are some of the top rated tools you guys always recommend for sellers? Just like some shout outs, I guess.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can answer this. I guess if you have a Amazon brand, the first thing is that you have to be careful about your profit and loss. That's the most important. And the software that I recommend, I'm sure there are other softwares that are really good, but Sellerboard is my favorite. And you could see exactly what is happening to all your sales spend. There are some softwares that they are not doing a good job in terms of bringing your marketing spend there. Or if they do, in account level, they are good. But when you go to product level, because of some complexity of headline ads, sponsor brand, video ads, they are not doing a good job in attributing the spend to ASIN level. But Sellerboard is great, and I 100% recommend it. In terms of next is about marketing and advertising. You have a few options. Either you are managing yourself and directly from Amazon advertising dashboard. Otherwise, there are tools like we personally use Perpetua at Incrementum Digital. It's a great tool. After that, I would say there is PackView is a good one as well. And then for research purpose, ongoing research, tracking keywords that you need to do for your products, I would say Helium 10, Jungle Scout, or Ecom Analytics also is a good tool to track your keyword. Otherwise, for research purpose, we all know Helium 10 and Jungle Scout. Both of them are great softwares.
I would add one thing. There's so much data points today that Amazon is giving you that, Mansoor talks a lot about this too, that sometimes people overlook. They say, well, what tools are you using? What third-party tools? There's so much data that Amazon is now giving you, and it's direct data that believe is underutilized. If you follow Mansoor on LinkedIn, you'll see his posts about the search query performance report, and how much data is there and how valuable that is in terms of being able to track your click share, purchase share, impression share, traffic, etc. So there's lots of internal tools today that are also really, really, really strong, and that should kind of be your first go-to, because it's data direct from Amazon. And then you should be using the third-party tools. I don't know if you mentioned Data Dive as well, but Helium, Jungle Scout, Data Dive, that should be secondary after first getting the data direct from Amazon.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, guys. I thought this was really insightful, good conversation, tons of things happening, and I hope everyone here learn a few things. We'll be following up with the ebook that actually goes in each of these points into depth, as well as a relevant case study. And definitely check us out at 8fig.co and incrementumdigital.com. And
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
wonderful Wednesday.